Welcome everyone to another episode of Couch Coaches. I'm John Lazaron, and I am joined by my good mate here, Richard, the bandwagon conductor. Letty, how's it going, bro?
Choo choo, choo choo choo. All aboard. 2 points is 2 points. It wasn't the most polished performance on the weekend, but the boys got it up. They dug in and ran away with 2 points. It wasn't quite the polished performance you were after though, John.
Nah, not at all, not at all. Like, and again, just to make it clear to everyone that was listening last week, I wasn't trying to say I didn't care if the boys lost. No, that's not what I was saying. I wanted the boys
That's
to
what
win.
you said.
No, I know. My wife said she listened to it. She said, "That's what you did say." I said, "No, I did not say that." So I don't know why. Anyway, I haven't listened to it myself because I don't want to get bummed out. So I wanted them just to have a polished performance and win the game, but they won the game by small margin, and it wasn't a polished performance. That left edge is something to worry about right at the moment. And looking at the team list today, they made a change on that left edge with Jackson Ford dropping out of the starting lineup for the first time this season, with Josh Curran taking his place. But he's on the bench, Jackson Ford. But that left edge, bro. I mean, what do you think about that? What do you think about the left edge at the moment? You know, the attack and the defense.
Well, I don't think it would have been Jackson Ford that I was putting the blame on. I mean, I like Pompey and I like Montoya and I like what they've been doing this season, but they just kind of. I mean, I think at halftime they were talking about the Jason Saab hat trick, and the commentators were saying, "Oh, really hard fought hat trick." And I was like, "That was the easiest hat trick you'll see in your life." I don't think he got touched the whole time. And I don't know what Montoya was doing. He just didn't look like he cared. He was just sort of looking a bit blasé about it all. And yeah, it was just every time they went out that way, they were just breaking tackle. They were just breaking tackle. I mean, so yeah, I'm sure he got over for a hat trick without being touched.
No, you're right.
I mean, I'm a little bit surprised that maybe they didn't make any changes, but at the same time, they've pretty much gone with. Well, they obviously have made the change of bringing Curran in, and Curran had a pretty immediate impact on the times that he did sort of come off the bench on the weekends. He's just how good's Josh Curran? Love the guy.
Oh yeah, I love the guy too. I think he should be getting more minutes. That's one thing I've been thinking about all season, that he's just not playing enough minutes because he does make an impact. He makes a big impact as well.
Yeah.
But going back to Montoya, yeah, he went missing in this game, didn't he? In that game, there was one moment in the first half where they passed the ball out wide to him early in the set, and he went, instead of coming inside, because he was well covered. He was well covered by I just forgot his name, the Manly centre, the Kiwi dude. I can't remember his name. Just forgot his name.
Morgan Harper.
Morgan Harper, that's the one. So I just had a brain snap there. And he had him covered. Plus, he had the fullback there covering him. So I don't know why he was trying to go for the sideline, trying to score right on the edge there when he was well covered so early in the set. I don't know why he didn't have just the common sense just to step back inside. I don't know why. So the reason why I say that and bring that moment up is that from that moment you could just see that he was just having an off game, whether it was defense or attack. He was just having an off game. And look at the fans; they're roasting him at the moment on the fan pages. They're calling for Kosi to come back in, but I don't think you can just roast him just for one game. But that's your typical Warriors fan, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
roast you. Yeah,
and I think he's still picked up plenty of meters, running the ball back from the long kicks and all that. So It wasn't all bad, but yeah, it was just. I don't think we'll see it again, And I mean, I hope this week when we play the Dragons, that they haven't been doing their homework, and that maybe he'll get peppered, and hopefully he can sort of handle the general this week. Just on that, Morgan Harper real quickly. Is there a player that you would least like to have in your team in the last 2 minutes when the game's on the line? Did you see him in the last 2 minutes when Manly were down? He was just taking people out. He had about 3 swings at Pompey's face. He gave away that penalty. It was just. I mean, he's enthusiastic, but honestly, Manly were very much still in the game, and he was just, he was all over the show. He looked like a little bloody Energizer bunny.
Yeah, he was. You could see that he was frustrated, and fair enough too. I mean, we'll talk about the left edge again in a second, but got the controversial call that came from that game when Chance hit Ruben Garrick midair when he was jumping for the ball. When I saw it live, my first thought was penalty, and Chance is going to the bin. That was my first thought. but I had no idea that there was a rule. To be honest, watching rugby league for a long time, played it for a long time, but I did not know that there was a rule, and
Yeah,
I think many other people didn't know it was a rule either.
it's a
And
funny
I
one,
just thought
eh?
it was
Like
wrong.
it kind of makes sense that it's the rule, in that I don't know, people would just be jumping for anything, this here and that, and but I was the same. Like I thought straight away, I thought that would be a penalty,
Yeah.
and Chance would be lucky to stay on the field. And there was there's no malice in it, like it's not like he tried to tackle him at all. Like he was just sort of going for the ball. But I think you see that in Union. In Union that'd be, someone would probably be red
10-week
carded.
ban. 10-week
Yeah,
ban.
they'd probably they'd generally get like a 3 or 4 week ban, I reckon.
Yeah.
So it's. I'll take it. The rule's a rule, but I think if it was against us, I would have been fuming.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think that they'll change it. Just so anyway, for everyone that's listening, I'm pretty sure if you're listening, because you'll be a rugby league fan, but Chance took him out in midair, but it wasn't because he was Ruben Garrick was catching a kick or anything. He was catching a charge down that bounced on the ground up, so he was jumping up for the ball, clipped him, and he fell awkwardly, but he fell on his back. But now Ruben Garrick's back is been confirmed to be fractured. He's fractured his back, but only out for 2 weeks apparently. So 2 rounds maybe. So, but they're out anyway. I think they're out of contention anyway. So
he's talking about playing through the season, to the last 2 games, isn't he? Like,
yeah,
I'm sure that I didn't actually see the Manly's team whether he was named or not, but. I mean, why would you? Your season's over, and you're giving it a go. When you did say before about the controversial decision, and I thought you were thinking about the forward pass / knock on / obstruction in the lead up to Jason Saab's 3rd try. I think it was just before the end of the first half. I was pretty livid about that one. What were your thoughts on that? Did you think it was either above?
Yeah, I mean. I was just like, I was waiting for the referee to put his hands up in the air, to bring on the bunker, but it just didn't happen. But
they looked at it so much as well. They looked at it like, I feel like they looked about 5 or 6 times, and then I don't even think the bunker actually officially looked at it. So
yeah,
unbelievable.
Well, it's a funny one because ever since one New Zealand CEO came on and had his had his say in everything, even though he retracted what he said, it still made an impact on how we've been treated this year. But there's still some things that go against us. But I think, to be honest, if you're going to be fair, it's been quite fair for us ever since that happened, because we were getting some everything was going against us before. But I just think, put that aside. The Warriors won again. I'm glad, and we've been saying this, ever since we started. This Warriors team is a team that knows how to win, even when it's an ugly win, and that's the thing. But they let all their tries are pretty much all of Manly's tries, not I think all of them, but maybe bar another one. They were all on the left edge there, and I was trying to figure out who is at fault here, because not to point fingers out, but just to see what we could do to remedy it. But it's a bit hard because you see Pompey staying inside and leaving, and there's a bit of a gap there, and then Montoya then comes back in as well to cover sort of that gap, and that just leaves their winger open, and that's what happened on the weekend. It's a simple draw the player in, but I think Montoya for me was just standing too far inside instead of staying more closer to his wing there and the sideline. And
it was almost reminiscent of the years of watching Manu Vatuvei on the wing, like the amount of just defensive reads that he'd get wrong. He'd come in off his wing and players would be scoring 2 3 tries just untouched, basically. It was almost like that. So, but I mean, Montoya has been pretty solid defensively. It does feel like the last couple of weeks it has disintegrated a little bit, that left edge. So I'm sure I feel like Webster's the kind of coach he's done well at when there's an issue, like he'll address it, and the next week we'll see a much improved game. So I'm hoping that as when at Mount Smart on Friday night, when the St George come to town, that Pompey and Montoya would have had a hard week at training, but sort of been put back into line.
Well, I can pretty much guarantee that's what they'll be focusing on a lot in the training this week, and then in the lead up to this match, is that left edge, because that's where they're going wrong. defensively. We know we've been defensively sharp pretty much all season, but ever since we've come back from the bye, we've been a bit sluggish. We're winning the games, but we've been sluggish. But we're winning the games. However, if we had played Penrith or Brisbane, they would have taken advantage of that left edge way more. And I honestly don't think that we would have found it hard. They need to sort out the left edge of going into the finals. That's one concern I have is that left edge. It's not just the defense; it's the attack as well.
Yeah. Montoya hasn't been bringing that. I mean, Dallon's just so good on that right edge, and his finishing that was sort of relying probably a bit much on that. I think the better, as you say, like the better teams will not just be putting pressure on Montoya, but you'd say they'll have a bit more of a plan of how to stop Dallon. But I mean, how good's Dallon? Those two more diving tries in the corner, and then he just shows that he can, go boom far up the guts and bump off a few people and it was awesome to see. So there was still plenty to like. There was still plenty to like in that game. But the left edge was the obvious concern. Obviously SJ coming up clutch again, so we can't rely on it too much. But I mean, it's what you want of your halfback, to be able to make those big plays, and he had two huge plays when he set Nokore up for that try. I was like, that must be obstruction, because the hole was just too big. I was like, what's happened here? And and then you saw the replay, like, oh no, there's no obstruction there. That's just he's just seen that there's a big fella, a bit of a mismatch in the back line, and he just drew that big fella out. And then Nokore, that he couldn't believe it. His eyes bloody lit up and ran for it. And fortunately by that point, Garrick was injured, so he couldn't get across and tackle him.
Yeah, well, the call from a lot of the couch coaches around the Warriors fan bases is, at the moment, get rid of Metcalf, bring Tamari Martin in, and again, we have some of the worst couch coaches. Even though we love our Warriors fans, some of them can be the worst couch coaches around, and I'm not sure if throwing Tamari Martin in straight away is a good idea, but I admit that even though I love Metcalf and I think he's a great attacking player, the last couple of games he's also hasn't read the play very well. For example, with ball in hand, taking the ball up, and there have been some opportunities where he should have passed it. It would have made he created some space, but he actually, instead of passing it, he decided to take the line on himself. Which is, I don't have a problem with a half taking the line on. It's actually a good thing, but not when you've actually created space for your outside center or wing, and he just didn't pass it. So there was some opportunity that could have gone missing in those games, and I just think that he just needs to be wary of that, because you can't just leave it, like you said before, you can't just leave it up to the SJ to do everything. And but
he definitely it wasn't his best game, I thought. Metcalf, he kind of he had a few really good games, and everyone was pretty high on him, but I do feel like maybe he's dropped off a little bit. But no, I wouldn't be dropping him. I mean, you'd be silly to, when we're still winning, and I mean, he's still pretty young, and him and SJ haven't played, still haven't played that much together. So I'd keep him there for now. And as you say, like, I mean, Tamari Martin's not even fit yet, is he? So I don't think he's going to be fit till the first week of the finals. I think I saw him, maybe. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he's made the reserve list.
Oh, he is? Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's not in the 17, but he's in the reserve list. But anyway, like, he's there, and I think that you're going to have to give him a go at reserve grade. New South Wales Cup before he comes into it. But it's a good headache again for Andrew Webster to have, that you've got Tamari Martin there, because he's sound defensively as well. He's not only is he brilliant on attack, he's really sound defensively as well. That's what I like about Tamari Martin. So who knows what's going to happen, because Webster's had a bit of a knack for making last minute calls, an hour before the game, before kickoff. But I think that the Warriors they need to put a good polished performance against the Dragons. I mean, they should they should beat them, but they need to show a polished performance, because there are teams at the moment that are just showing they're performing well. Like, said it from the start, Knights for me are the dark horse at the moment, and they're proving me right every week, the Knights. But look, we'll leave it there, and we'll go into the. We'll quickly have a quick review of the games of the weekend, and then we'll get into the other stuff. So who played on the weekend, and what games did you watch?
I saw a little bit of the Cowboys Sharks on Thursday night. Sharkies 32-12 of the Cowboys. I think we were both on the Cowboys, were we?
I think so. Yeah, I think we were.
Yeah, I feel like we were. And yeah, Nico Hines is finally, back to the sort of Dally M caliber that we saw last year, and leading that team, and also they're looking great. They're now fifth on the ladder. Like they could finish in the top four if the Storm lose a game, or if the Warriors lose 2 games, I think. Which hopefully the Warriors don't lose 2 games. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty ready to write the Sharks off a few weeks ago, but now it might be the Cowboys that they were sort of originally our smoky, but sorry, they might be the Cowboys might be the ones to miss out now.
Yeah, exactly. But they might be the Sharks might be just hitting form at the right time, but at the same time it could be deceiving, because the Cowboys, for me, I thought they would be another dark horse, but they have not performed well, the way they would like to have. Townsend's got a bit missing, and when your halfback goes missing, it has a big impact in the whole team. So I think that's where they're going wrong. I actually think the Cowboys even might miss it. They might miss the 8. That's what I'm starting to think now.
They're currently 9th on 28 points. The Rabbitohs 8th, 28 points, Roosters 10, 28 points. So it's on points differential for their 8th spot, and the Cowboys have got the Dolphins and the Panthers, so you imagine they'll probably win 1 and lose 1. Rabbitohs got a bye in the Roosters, so that final round game against the Roosters is going to be an absolute barnstormer. So something to look forward to. Like one of the great rivalries. Final round, probably fighting out for the 8th spot. So bring that on in a couple of weeks' time.
Yep.
I was just thinking about the Cowboys and Sharks. They've sort of done the opposite. The Cowboys had that mid-season where they were just, they had the absolute purple patch. They were flying. They were putting big scores on, and the Sharks were kind of getting smashed at that point. And then they've sort of almost, reversed their form. But yeah, as you said, the Sharks they're coming right at the right time of the season, and Cowboys are coming wrong at the wrong time of the season. So Friday night, Warriors 29-22. Did watch the full 80 minutes of that one. Actually, no, I missed the first probably 3 minutes. I was putting my son down, and I came to sleep, and I came out, and the Manly were already up 6-0, 4-0.
No.
What happened?
Give you a bit of a fright? Did it give you a bit of a fright?
I kind of haven't even watched the replay, but what happened? Did Manly just come out hot, did they?
Well, I would love to answer that question, but I missed the first 3 minutes of it as well, and that's not normal for me as well. So I don't know what happened. I actually missed the first 3 minutes as well.
I watched the replay, and it was just Jake Arthur sort of they obviously Manly were hot on attack, and then Jake Arthur snuck on through. But yeah, I mean, I think we've touched on that game. This sort of your Dallin was great. SJ came in clutch. Another sort of big performance from some of the big boppers. The left edge was a concern. Manly were probably a lot better than I was. No, they probably weren't. It was just that we sort of just. I mean, we kept them scoreless in the second half, which is great. Which is when you go into half time down, what was it, 22-16 or something, and to keep them scoreless in the second half was a big achievement. So they obviously, even the halftime talk from Webster and the boys must have been, I saw at one point he was sort of talking to Justin Morgan was talking to Chance, and he was just saying, you just be aware of that left edge because it's leaking. So we'll take a win, obviously not without the controversy. It was the right decision, I suppose, with the Chance, but yeah, I think that if it was against us, I would have been fuming, and I'm sure you would have been too.
Yeah, definitely.
Later on Saturday night, we had Friday night. Sorry, Eels, Roosters, another team coming right at the right time of the season.
For me, it's too late. It's too late for me.
It might not be, but
mathematically, I know mathematically they can.
Oh,
but they need results to go their way as well.
Because the Rabbitohs got a bye, don't they? So maybe they.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yes, they have to win both games, and then they have to. Yeah. And then the Cowboys to lose at least.
And plus, point differential as well comes into it, as we've always said. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what Roosters are -62, so that is going to hurt them. But yeah, they looked pretty sharp. Eels. I mean, we think we said last week their season was over, and we can very well put the black line through them now. Dylan Brown moving to halfback didn't make the difference they would have hoped. Saturday afternoon, who would have picked this as the game of the round? Tigers, Dolphins. I think Epi Carousel would have woken up with a sore back on Sunday morning because, god damn, he carried that team all the way to the final whistle. You know, he was great playing in the halves, and that very clutch penalty from the sideline. You don't see that very often in league, hitting the post and going over. The Tigers snapped there. I think it was a 10-game losing streak. So you got to be happy for the Tigers.
Yeah, very happy, especially when they gave us their home game, in Hamilton. So, very happy for them. Yeah, and
then we had
Titans.
I mean, what do you say? Panthers just rolling on.
I just thought Titans were going to put up a bigger fight on for this game, but the Panthers is looking slick as always. So that for me, they're still the team to beat. Sort of thing.
It was a 26-point win. I don't know what their points differential now must be, but it must be over 300, I think. So
we're close to it anyway. I know. I remember last time I looked, it was like 200 something, but they're flying and they're not slowing down anytime soon. And they'll probably continue where they left off on Thursday night when they host the Eels. Storm Dragons. Dragons probably put up more of a fight than most would have expected, but Storm were never losing that. Storm are another team that they just keep rolling on, and the Warriors are just trying to slip away and get that extra 2 points above them. But I think currently we are still the 2 points, but it'll be nice to just have that extra buffer because I think their points differential is better than us. But I mean, Dragons coming to Mount Smart this week, so hopefully they can't sort of pull off an upset there. They're always a team that worries me a little bit, the Dragons, when we play them, but I think from what we did to them earlier in the season, it should be all right. We touched on the Knights before, 29-10 against the Rabbitohs on Sunday Arvo. I just did not see this one coming. I think I tipped the Rabbitohs myself. But there's some real problems with that Rabbitohs team. They just look not happy to, they just don't look like, their left edge is normally so clinical and just beautiful to watch. And they're quite a structured team normally, but they just seem lost. Oh, sorry, keep going.
I don't know if you've seen all the talk in the media about Latrell, but they were sort of, they had the spotlight on Latrell, and, he's always going to be a much aligned player, and, people are going to have their thoughts on him. I love Latrell when he's on, but he's definitely seemed to go missing a little bit in that game, and he was just, his body language was sort of summing it up.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say what you just said because I watched Rafe and Esther's analysis of Latrell in that game, and on the tries that they scored, the opposition scored, that he was nowhere near when they scored the tries on the left hand flank there. He went to go for a player, but he didn't go for anyone. He just went straight through the line, and it looked really odd. And then when they were hot on attack, usually a fullback, is usually in close proximity of the play. But the thing is that he was nowhere near. They were highlighting him. He was on the other side of the field, just walking, while the play was going ahead in fast pace. So didn't make sense. But that's why that game against the Roosters is going to be crucial because I mean, for me, it doesn't make an impact at all because either way, I think either side is never going to get. If either side make it to the finals one way or another, they're not getting through past the first round of finals week. So that's my opinion anyway. So, but the Knights look good and they're playing some good football and they're playing confident football. That's the thing. They're playing confidently. And I think they've got it in them where they think they know they can beat every team, but they've been beating some, things like the Rabbitohs, etc., the Bulldogs, etc. So we have to wait and see how they go. I mean, they played Brisbane and they lost to Brisbane, but it wasn't by much. It wasn't by much, and in one of
I think
they played at
won
I'm pretty sure it
they
was
must
at
have won
Suncorp as
7 in
well.
a row now. I think was it the Knights?
Yeah, they won 7 in a row, and they played the Broncos, in one of the Broncos' rare home games that they have. Yeah, in their rare home games, but yeah, no, I'm liking the Knights, and they're the team that I'm worried about. If I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, but
Yeah, they could
yeah,
definitely ruffle some feathers. Looks like
Yeah.
they'll probably finish 6th or 7th,
yeah,
but they could finish as high as 5th, I think. And then Sunday, the final game of the round, Raiders 36-24 over the Bulldogs. I mean, I think we both said. Oh no, I think I said I would pick the Bulldogs if they weren't so horrendous the week before, and it was a better performance from them. But yeah, I mean the Raiders are just sort of they're trudging
pretenders.
along. They're still sitting in 6th, John. They haven't
Yeah, I
fallen
know,
out
I
of
know
8th
that,
yet.
I know that they're still sitting in 6th, but if you're watching the whole season through, they're only just getting wins against teams like the Bulldogs. Only just. I mean, I can't really say too much because the Warriors have been doing sort of the same of late as well. But only throughout the whole season, they've been getting small wins, and just by the. I think this was actually this win 36-24. This 12-point margin was their biggest margin, biggest victory margin of the year of the season.
What was that?
Yes, that's what I remember someone saying it. I remember hearing it. It was the biggest margin that they've won by all season, and that's only 12 points.
So
And
how many games have they won? Like 10?
I'll just check for you.
9 maybe. 8 or 9 maybe.
They have won. Dude, they've had 13 wins. They've had 13 wins. Because remember that their point differential is minus 108.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So for someone who's in 6, but I think they're the only side in the top 8 that has a negative points differential.
Mind you, in saying that, I would genuinely always say if I think the Warriors are going to win, I'd say go 1-12. But this season they've blown that out a little bit. But then recently it's been back to the 1-12 wins, back to the Warriors of old. So the ladder's looking interesting now. We've got the Panthers Broncos both on 40, Warriors 36, Storm 34, and then Sharks Raiders 32, Knights 31, 8th Rabbitohs, 9th Cowboys, 10th Roosters, all on 28. So still plenty to play for. And there's a few games this weekend which there'll be some keen eyes watching them to see how what influence it'll have on where they finish on the table.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to the Bulldogs, Pangai Jr. And we spoke about it last week. I remember, and I'm going to do this because apparently I crushed myself with for my words that that I thought I didn't say, but I did say that Pangai. I think he didn't love the game. That his body language just shows that he's not in it, and I've always thought he's a grub anyway and things like that. But this week he's come out saying that he's come out admitting that he never had a love for rugby league, that he was sort of forced to play it by his parents, as a young fella. So I'm going to say I'm caught it, and now he's leaving, going to boxing, he's putting on the table. He's leaving 750,000, 800,000 on the table, and he's going and. I could see it in his performances. He just was. I just thought it was just a waste of talent. Those were the words I used. A waste of talent. He had talent, but he just never used it. And I think because if he's just come out saying that he never had a love for the game, how could you use that talent when you're not in it? You have to be in it as well. You may have the talent, but if you're not in it, and that means like training wise, turning up wise, things like that. You're not gonna. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's a perfect example is John Schuster from Manly. Got the talent, but apparently, apparently his own teammates have complained about him in the past, where they've said he doesn't train well. He just takes it. He's real lazy. Apparently, he had a eating problem because he's not the for a number 6. He's not like the he's not the polished man that you normally see as a number 6. But he's another perfect example. Hey,
he's got beautiful eyes. So you can put them up there with Reece Walsh, I reckon. There's some of the most beautiful eyes in the competition, I think.
He doesn't wear the mascara.
I couldn't stop looking at them the other day. Yeah.
He doesn't wear the mascara though, so that's the thing. But I shouldn't be saying that against Reece Walsh. He's a former Warrior. Still,
Yeah,
you either love him or hate him. I
he's a
still
snake.
love
Yeah,
him.
I'd say he's a snake though. So he's dead to me. Uh,
Just that bluntly, huh? Just say that bluntly. All right. Yep. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think a lot of Warriors fans will feel the same way, but I think there's some that still love him and stuff. But yeah.
speaking of Warriors fans, we did have some questions last week that people sent through for the show. I unfortunately didn't get.
Bring it on.
By the time I saw them, we'd already recorded. But hey, we'll just touch on a few of them here and see what we can get. The first one was from Don McCormack. What's it going to take to get an up the wires out of John?
Are you serious? Okay. Again, I feel like I've had to do a lot of clarifying in this episode and in the previous episode as well. I don't have an issue with up the wires. It's more I prefer let's go on Warriors, or let's go Warriors, up the Warriors. I'm just a bit old school in that sense. If other people want to use it, they can use it, but I have a preference for the Warriors. But is it Don? Is it Don?
Don McCormack.
Don McCormack. Okay, up the wires. There you go. That's for Don. Just for you,
He's
Don.
only gone and done it.
All right, just for you, Don.
Speaking of up the wires, I'm sure you would have seen it. The young schoolgirl who asked who she was supporting in the Football World Cup.
Brilliant.
Up the wires. Oh, you love to see it. So shout out to her and to her. I think she watches the Warriors with her dad. So shout out to her dad. I'm sure he's a listener of the podcast. Next question. Warriors run home. Blessing or a curse? Would they be better with a tough game?
I know that they would be better.
Yeah, we have talked about this, haven't we? I mean, I'll take it if it means that we're going in with confidence, but we're probably not going in with confidence when we're, just edging past these teams. If we were winning ugly against a good team, maybe you'd be like, okay, I'll give you some confidence for the finals. But yeah, it's probably not worked in our favour.
Yeah, the only thing for me that's going so the run home hasn't gone well. In my opinion, hasn't gone well. Like you said, we're winning. Yeah, good. We're winning, and we should be winning. But the way we're doing it is what concerns me. It's the way we're winning that concerns me. But the thing that's going to be the blessing for the Warriors run home is that if they can stay in the top four, that's the blessing, because if they stay in the top four, which I believe they will play a top four team in the finals for first week out, meaning they'll get a good, strong head out. Whether they win it or lose it, they'll still have a strong head out. So worst case scenario, they lose the game, but it depends on the way they play. But the week after, when they have to play another team, they will come back stronger from the game that they played in the top four round. So against one of the top four teams.
Yeah.
So I think that I would prefer to have played a tougher team, because I think you benefited from, even if we lost, just say we played Penrith last week. Just say we lost. I still think we would benefit from that game the week after. So that's the only way I think it looks good for the finals. Yeah.
Well, that one was from Mr. Harmosh. He's a good friend of mine, Mr. Harmosh. He also asked, why does Rissy hate the Rabbitohs so much? And I will say, because you like the Rabbitohs so much, Harmosh. And the final one, we
have to tag these guys, We tag these guys in the video when it comes along.
The final one, how do the faithful feel re Eden Park over Mount Smart as the preferred NRL venue for the finals? Now,
that's a tough one.
I can see the logic behind it, because, you're going to be able to get an extra, how many does Mount Smart hold? 24, 25?
Oh,
so
maybe close to 30, I think.
When they put the extra season in. But you're still getting an extra, at least 13,000 people in.
While you're talking, I'll Google it up.
Yeah. And I just, something about Mount Smart, that there's a real vibe there. I went to the Dolphins game there earlier this year. I went to the homecoming game last year, and that was one of the most special sporting moments I've been to in my life. Seeing the faithful home, everyone will cut it out. So I mean, I hope they keep it at Mount Smart, because I think they call it I shouldn't call it Mount Smart. I should be calling it Go Media Stadium, shouldn't I? Go Media.
It'll always be Mount Smart.
I saw the Wiggles were there the other night, and they were saying we're at Mount Smart Stadium, and there's a John in the Wiggles, and he called them the Waz. So it was great to see. I'm going to see the Wiggles tomorrow, so I'm very excited. So it's good to see them. Good to see them in the country. But on an unrelated note, I think that I hope it stays at Mount Smart, but I mean commercially it makes sense to move it, doesn't it?
Yeah, 25. You're right. You were right. 25,000 capacity. 50,000 capacity. So
yeah, as I said, they might be able to put some extra seating in, but still probably nothing more than.
But it's basically double at Eden Park. And the thing is that Cameron George, Warriors CEO, has come out saying that he will fight the NRL on this to keep it at home because it is our fortress. But you see, when it comes to the finals, NRL have control. That's where everything is different because like for example, Super Rugby, for example, if the Hurricanes were playing in the Cape Town, they have control of all of that sort of stuff. I'm pretty sure that's the way it is anyway. Yeah. Whereas in NRL have control of over the finals, and I just think that because they will just have to, they're looking at it from we can get double, and they know that they will fill it as well. They know that they will fill it.
Yeah, well, if they're filling a Friday night Dragons game a week before the game, just a regular season, then that they will sell out Eden Park for a finals game because the faithful are well and truly out. The bandwagon's filling up, and there's more room though. So if you want to get on, if you're just late to the party, jump on because we're happy to take you up the Wasp.
But if you're jumping on the bandwagon. And hopefully we get this out so people can see that if you're jumping on the bandwagon, stay on it and don't just jump off. I had a couple of conversations with a couple of mates today. We're going for a boys' weekend, and they were talking about the Warriors, and two of them were saying, "Yeah, we've jumped on the bandwagon, but as soon as they start losing, we're jumping back off." They actually said that, and it pissed me off. And I was just like, I remember writing in the message in the message saying, "Get off now, get off now." And so if you're listening to this, exactly. If you're listening to this and you're a bandwagon, all good, jump on board, all aboard, choo. But the thing is, stay on it. Don't just jump off when we're going bad, because there probably will be bad times, in the future. You have to stay loyal, and that's how I see it anyway. Don't just be a part-time bandwagoner. Stay on and be a bandwagoner, but become a loyal fan.
I think the fact that, the first time in 21 years that we've won 6 games consecutively, I think that sums up the fact that there has been a few pretty tough years as Warriors supporters. So we're gonna we'll make the most of it while we can.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Sorry, I'll quickly just check. Yeah, that was it. So thanks for that, guys. If anyone's got any questions, find us on Instagram or Facebook and flick them through. I did put up a post before asking for more questions, but I only did it about 10 minutes before we started filming. So I was just I was hoping that someone might just come in live and we might be able to address them. But we'll save that for next week. Should we do a quick preview of the coming up round? What is that? Round 26, is it?
Yeah, sounds good.
So we've got a grand final rematch on Thursday night, Panthers versus Eels. I think from what we've seen the last few weeks, I'm not going to say I know what's going to happen this game, but I'm going to say that if you gave me Panthers by 30 plus, I'd be pretty happy to take it. The Eels have obviously, they're in a bad place. It's a real shame to see a team sort of go from hero to zero like they have in one season. Yeah. But such is the beauty and the heartache of the NRL. Panthers are just they're rolling. They're going to be far too good. So I'll happily take them by a very big margin.
Well, I was just about to ask you, but then now because the team lists have been put up, so I was just going to see would they rest players for this game, knowing that the Eels are out of sorts. And I'm just looking at the team now, and no, they haven't rested anybody.
Yeah,
still a really strong lineup there. You got Isaiah Yeo still there, Liam Martin.
They still want They still want the minor premiership. The Broncos have got they had the bye last week. They'll come out fresh. I think Reynolds might be out for the Broncos this week, but they still want that minor premiership. So I think they'll probably keep playing their top team. It'd mean a lot to them. To get the minor premiership 3 years in a row would be huge. So
yeah, Panthers by a big margin for me.
Yeah. Waz versus the Drags on Friday night at Mount Smart Stadium. A sold out Mount Smart Stadium. It has been sold out for. We're recording on Tuesday. I think it was on Saturday morning that it was sold out. So shout out to all the Auckland-based fans that are snapping up those tickets. I see there's a few free ones going around at the moment. People, a few giveaways, so get amongst. The Warriors, we know that they've won 6 in a row, but probably the last 4 of them have been pretty ugly. We haven't quite seen that polished performance yet. Do you think you might get your polished performance this week, John?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so, because otherwise I will, even if we win ugly again, I will still be concerned going into the finals. And that's just, if you're a Warriors fan saying, nah, we're all good. No, and I'm like, shut up. I'm saying to you, shut up, because obviously you don't know what the game is about. Because the thing is that even though we're winning ugly, yeah, it's good. I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. But going into the finals, we're playing against some really tough teams, and you got to be putting on a better performance than we have been to make it further. I'm hoping for grand final. We bought tickets for grand final, so they need a better performance on defense wise and attacking wise. I think our right edge is smooth. I have no issues with our right edge and our forward. Our forward impact going forward. We're always making the meters, and Adam Vanilla Blake just doing his work and stuff. Tohu Harris, he, for someone who is seems a bit a bit crippled. So it seems like a crippled man at times. But he gets the ball and he makes it. He still takes a few people to get him down. So I just have a lot of admiration for Tohu Harris. I just think that the left edge is where if we can fix the left edge, I think we'll be in a lot better stead.
Yeah, I think that if you think about that left edge, we had that 10-minute glory period where we scored those 3 quick tries and we just looked unstoppable, Yeah. And then I think you alluded to it before, there was that moment where Montoya got sort of tackled out, and then Manly just passed the ball to the right and to Jason Saab, and he just kind of just ran through untouched, just like he was playing touch. So yeah, if we can sort that out, I think we'll be all right. I think the Dragons have been putting up some all right performances, so I don't think this is going to be a walkover. And I think maybe another 1 to 12 would be a good one. Just on the grand final, actually, John, while I remember, we've update on the plan for the weekend is a friend's organised a boat cruise up the river up to the stadium from town and back with Captain Lance. So we're looking forward to that. There's going to be nine of the boys on the boat, having a good time. Hopefully, singing some Kiwi classics to get us in the mood to watch the Warriors in the grand final.
I haven't been to Sydney. Yeah, I haven't been to Sydney for about 6 years, so I don't know what's changed. The only time I got on the water in Sydney was on the ferry from Manly to the city. That's the only time I got on the water there. So it might be a bit of a different experience for you. So
yeah, I don't know. A friend of mine, he used to live there, and he seems to know someone. So yeah, Captain Lance has got on board, and we're in the process of making our playlist. We're going to put the Up the Waz song from Gerard from Warriors Anonymous on the playlist, I think. So shout out to him and to the Warriors Anonymous boys.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to say about the Warriors Dragons game? I think that I would say that also Freddie Lussick on the bench proved pretty handy last week. We sort of alluded to the week before with Egan and his injuries, and he obviously had to come off again, but to be able to have let Lussick come on, I think it was about 20 minutes or so at the end there, and he just sort of was it. He's
a good defender. We spoke about this last time, didn't we? Where we said that Bailey Sironen, yes, he can play hooker, but makeshift. Whereas, you can see the difference of having someone that just knows what they're doing at the right there, and he did a good job, and defensively he did really well. He caused a knock on from the Manly players, closer to the time, and I remember all the players rallying around Lussick because of the awesome tackle he did, because they were second tackle into a set close to our line, and we were just defending our hearts out because we needed because if they had scored, it would have been a draw at the time. So I think it's a good idea having him on. Not much more to add on about the Warriors. Just to if they fix the left edge, I think we'll do really well. But if you're going to be in Sydney on the boat with your mates, mate, me and my other mate, they're coming over from, we might have to sneak on. So just giving you a heads up, on that one.
We'll clear some room for you.
Cheers, mate.
BYOBs. So there's Dolphins Cowboys. Yeah, so I think this is in Brisbane. This one. The Dolphins have had some pretty horrible luck the last few weeks. I feel like they've had some really. I think the last 3 games they've lost by either 1 or 2 points. So can they pull off an upset here? I mean, the Cowboys aren't looking good. They're in a bit of a bad patch, and the Dolphins are just. They're trying very. They didn't. I think it was 3 of the last 4 games of Dolphins because they got beaten by a bit by the Roosters. But I'm pretty sure there was 2 games before that were close, and then obviously that tight loss to the Tigers. So
I would still give it to the Cowboys though, just because I think that they're just gonna. They know that this season is on the line. The thing that they could go against them is that the Dolphins have nothing. They've got it's not like they've got anything to play for, so they could just just relax a bit. And yeah, I honestly think the Cowboys will take this one. That's my pick. Cowboys. Who have you got?
Oh, I really want to go the Fins because I love the Fins, but I also quite enjoy.
Fins up for you?
Yeah, I'll go Fins up. Yeah,
Fins up.
I mean, the Cowboys can't lose, but they've just been pretty horrendous recently, and Dolphins deserve it. They've had a pretty good season. They've definitely passed mark for the season. So yeah, I'll go the Fins for the upset. Storm Titans. What's happened to the Titans? I think Sami's out. I think Jalen Campbell's out. Maybe they've had someone else who's injured as well. So yeah, this will be a tough game for them. Storm might Panthers. Yeah, Storm are just rolling. So I'm pretty happy to take the Storm. I'll go Storm by 10 to be precise. Right. I just got a feeling that it seems there's a few games recently that have been by around roughly 10 points. So Roosters Tigers. So yeah, we said before Roosters are still in the hunt, but they need a few things to go their way. Tigers have snapped their 10-game losing streak. Can they make it 2 in a row?
Nah, not against the Roosters, who are. I think they're just flying high at the moment, and I still think the Roosters won't make the 8, but I think they'll just be too strong for the Tigers.
Do you know whether Tedesco is playing?
I think he's not. I don't think he is. I was looking at the team list here.
Is Joe Manu at the back? Is he?
No, Joseph Manu's in fullback for this game. So that's not like you lose anything with Manu going back to fullback. So you don't lose anything in the end.
No, we saw what he could do playing with Kiwis last year. Eh? He was awesome.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's a funny one, Joe Manu, because he's sort of just been thrown around a bit. He's almost used as a utility for that team, but he's probably one of their, if not their best player. So, but very handy to have him there. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Roosters. They're flying at the moment, and I think, I think I'll be putting Joe Manu to score a try and all my multis for the weekend as well. I reckon he seems to be doing pretty well for me there. The Raiders Broncos at GIO on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Broncos versus Raiders.
Yeah, Broncos for me because I just don't think the Raiders are a good team at all. I just think that they've got so much stars in their team, and how could you? They've got so much power in their side, in their forward pack. They've got so much talent in their back line as well, and they just don't do nothing with it. I even heard that I heard a rumor that Jack Whiten was flipping on his South Sydney deal to come back, go to stay at the Raiders, but who knows if that's true or not. But yeah, I just think that they're just a side that just doesn't know how to use their talent properly as a team. I mean, as a team, they because of their talent, they can get through games like they did last week, where they only win by 12, which was their biggest margin of the season, and. I think the week before they beat the Tigers only just. Was it a field goal or a penalty? I can't remember. They only marginally just beat the Tigers the week before.
That's close.
And so I just think that was it the Tigers or it might have been someone else, but I know that they only just won, and for the for the amount of talent they have in the side to just be beating sides by 2 points or even a drop goal is just not good enough for me. Again, that's why they're in the deficit when it comes to points differential. And Broncos, I think we'll just roll them. We rolled them at Canberra when we played them at Canberra, so I think the Broncos will do the same. So yeah, Broncos for me.
No Adam Reynolds though. It's a bug out.
Yeah, I still think they'll still be fine.
Who
you got?
Oh, I love the milk. Love the milk. I'm gonna tip the milk.
Come on.
The Broncos come off the bye. No Reynolds there. They might just Raiders home game. I'm trying to talk myself into it, but I can't. Nah, Broncos.
Broncos, okay. I was gonna say, just get ready for another flipping crying session from Ricky Stewart, if you know.
I'd love to see the milk get up, but yeah, Broncos. Even without Reynolds out, I think it'll be close. And Whiten is on the extended bench, which is big for the Raiders. So if he plays, that could be big, but we'll see what happens there. Sunday afternoon, Bulldogs, Sea Eagles, two teams whose seasons are now over.
Yeah.
Ruben Garrick is rumoured to still play. I need to actually check the Sea Eagles team list here. I quite like the Bulldogs here. They just seem to be they did lose by 12 to Manly on the weekend, but not to Manly, sorry, to the Raiders on the weekend. He's not playing. Yeah, Ruben Garrick's not playing.
Yeah.
And they'll be a little bit, they'll be pissed off about last week, the Sea Eagles. But Bulldogs they've been trying hard and they deserve to win, playing at home. How good was just so remember Anthony Seibolt's Jeff Tuvey impression on the weekend? Did you see that?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Well,
ridiculous.
Not only is it the wording, but the voice as well.
The voice as well, yeah, the huskiness.
I mean,
it's just waiting for you got to be an investigation. Someone needs to be held accountable.
It's like a voice where they've been smoking all their lives, but I mean, obviously they haven't been because they Jeff Tuvey played league. Oh, he might have done. I mean, I don't know. If
I think it's more probably just head high tackles and their larynx has been bloody smashed up. So Bulldogs for me. Who you got for that game?
I got Manly. I just think that they showed enough to me, on the weekend against the Warriors to show that they can, be a decent team, and I think they'll do it here. But just looking at the team list, Ruben Garrick is in the 22. He's in the reserves. He's 20.
Oh, he is.
He's in 22. So if he's in the reserves, I'm sure that they'll promote him if he's fit. If he's fit. So John Schuster's at 18. He's been dropped to New South Wales Cup, and that was always coming. I mean, he's on $800,000 a season. How the heck are they paying that much amount of money to him? Like, I don't understand, because usually you pay that kind of amount of money to someone who's doing really well. And prior to this season, he wasn't even doing that well. He's always been someone that has always been in the news for the wrong reasons. He's been in the news for the wrong reasons, not for the great, for good reasons. I don't think he warrants a $800,000 salary per year. Again, he's been in the news for the wrong reasons, and I think that I just don't get it. I don't get it. There are probably other players there that are probably being paid way less than him that do a lot better and deserve it more. So
I'd pay $800,000 to have those eyes though. Well,
well, if you had to choose between question, you had to choose between John Schuster's eyes or Reece Walsh's eyes. What would you go for? Who would you go for? Whose eyes would you go for?
I think I'd go with Schuster's eyes. Yeah, there's just something about them. There's just like a beautiful innocence in there. Like Reece Walsh just looks a bit more, a bit more kind of rebellious and all that. But Schuster's just looks so nice and generous and beautiful.
I'm hearing the way you're saying it, Richard. It sounds like you got a bit of a man crush now. Far out. The way you're saying it.
Well, he's got the dad bod going and everything, just relatable.
Yeah, Phil. First it was Monero from Warriors Anonymous of Jackson Ford. The way he spoke about it. Now you look at this. Far out. What's going on? But
just look at those eyes. If you're watching New South Wales Cup this week, or if he makes his way into the team, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, we'll get off Josh Schuster's eyes because we're about to wrap this up. We've got one more game, which is actually
don't get too excited, mate.
extremely good game, and a game I'm very much looking forward to watching on Sunday afternoon to finish it off, or Sunday evening.
Yeah.
The Knights versus the Sharks at McDonald Jones Stadium. Two teams who have been playing some very good footy the last few weeks, coming off some big wins for their seasons. You know, the Sharks getting the 20-point win over the Cowboys, and the Knights getting that 19-point win over the Rabbitohs to sort of cement their place in the top 8, you'd probably say. I mean, the Knights can still drop out, but they'd have to lose both the next games, and they've got Cronulla this week, which will be hard, but they've got Dragons the week after.
Yeah.
I have said it about 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and I'm going to say it again. The Knights have won too many games in a row, and they have to lose at some point. So I'm going to back the Sharks on this. I think that great to see Nico Hines playing some good footy again, and he's got that back line working very well and playing some great footy. It's going to be a great battle between him and Ponga. I know they play on opposite sides of the field, but you know, two of the form halves in the competition at the moment. So I'm looking forward to some fireworks between those two. And there's so much finishing power out wide for both teams as well. You know, when you look at with the Knights with Dom Young and Sharks with you know, Ronaldo and Sona Katoa. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I think there'll be a few points. I think it might be quite high scoring. So I don't know what the line for the game is from a betting point of view, but I'd be on the over. I think it'll be, you know, like a 32-28 sort of score to the Sharks.
Yeah. No, Knights for me. I think the Knights will. I actually think the Knights will win, but I wouldn't mind if the Sharks win, because I think that the Knights are running in too hot for my liking at the moment. But Sharks, they may be in a bit of good form right now, but I just don't see them. I don't think they're going to worry too many of the top teams. Still, I mean, I was at Mount Smart when when we rolled them over just before the bye. You know, I was there for that game, and I just think we'll roll them over again. So I'd rather the Sharks win, because just for the sake of bringing the Knights back down to earth a little bit. But I still think the Knights will win, and I think it is going to be a good game because it'll give us an indication of where they're both at, and if whoever has to play them in the finals, it'll give me a bit of indication of where the Knights are at, and if the Sharks' hot run of the last few games was just another whole purple patch, just like the Cowboys. So yeah, I'll go for the Knights for me.
Oh, that's good. So we've got a bit of competition there for this week, actually. With me picking the Sharks, you picking the Knights.
Yeah. You got Bulldogs, I got Seagulls.
The Bulldogs, Seagulls. I tried to pick the Raiders, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I got the Finns as well, nice. So yeah, there's just. I think it's not all as clear as it will be this weekend. But yeah, as I said, I think that final game is after obviously the main event being Friday night at 8 p.m. at Go Media Stadium, or as Dragons, Knights vs Sharks to finish off the round will be a cracker.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else we need to touch on this week, or?
Nah. I think we're good. I think we've spoken too much, to be honest, about reviewing the games. We've kind of made it, just for people listening, we've kind of made it like our thing to maybe just keep that low so we can go on about other issues and stuff. But we've gone on a bit too much. But in saying that, thanks everyone for your support. We've over the last 4 or 5 episodes we've had, or 4 episodes that we've had, this is our 5th episode. We've had actually good support. We've been getting way more followers as well on our pages. Views are getting higher as well. For a group of us who have just started this, we're really happy at the moment. And so thank you for your support. Continue to like and subscribe to our pages and to watch our videos. And thank you, just genuinely thank you for your support. Anything you want to say, mate, before we go?
Just my usual. Up the wires. Choo choo, choo choo choo, all aboard.